Hi guys, and welcome to Back to the Basics by Bibi. Back to the BBB. Here is another episode. I'm so excited to have my brother-in-law, Mikey, also known as Mr. Wrench. Mr. Wrench has been with District Auto Inc. in Staten Island, New York for, 8 to 9 years now?
Yes.
Specializing in auto body, auto repair, customization, electronics, a whole bunch of stuff. So explain to our audience, how long have you been working with automobiles?
Yeah. I would say as early as I could walk, but I would say I started messing around with cars since I've been like maybe 8, 9 years old.
So without giving too much away, how many decades is that?
Don't know.
About
I,
okay.
I
You
forget
won't
how
answer
old.
right now, right? We'll say
No,
like 2 decades, maybe three.
yeah.
Uh, so the reason why I brought you here was because you recently helped us find a vehicle that hubby loves very much, and I know that you have purchased many vehicles over the years, and a lot of audience members have issues where they buy a car and it's a lemon when they buy it. Like they don't
Yeah.
know what to look for in purchasing a car. So I'm going to give the platform to you to explain to people what are the steps in order to buy a vehicle that's typically not a lemon.
Well, the first thing, I mean, everybody's going to want to do is run Carfax. You know, that's the new thing now. Everybody worries about Carfax. And technically, honestly, like the Carfax, all you really want to do to check it and make sure the VIN is clean and it's still not a salvage car. People get scared of salvage cars. I mean, if it was fixed right, yeah, the cars would be just the same. And as long as it had no airbag damage, Carfax will tell you that. But 75% of the time, nothing will be on the Carfax if somebody fixed this car out of pocket. So a lot of people are going to think that they're going to buy a car, and just because the Carfax is clean, the car's never been hit, never been anything. Not true, because like I said, a lot of people now, especially they come to my shop, car could have $10,000 worth of damage, and they're paying for it out their pocket. So it can depend on Carfax for everything. Everything is not going to be on there if they're paying for it out of pocket in cash. Um, Cars, buying a used car off the lot, people are worried about miles. Once again, miles is tricky. You could get a car with low mileage and still have tons of problem with it. You can have a car with high mileage and have zero problems. So the main thing you want to do is always, of your choice to go to dealer, to go to dealer. If you're going to buy a car off somebody, you want to try to buy it off somebody that is their personal car. There's a lot of, wannabe car dealers out there now, and they just buy cars that probably have tons of problems, and they're just doing anything right away to fix it. Um, you want to look for somebody that it was their personal car, and whether they're buying a new car or it's been sitting around. And a lot of times, 90% of the times, they'll be truthful with you and tell you, listen, the car needs that. I just took it off the road, or whatever the case is. Most of the car, private car salesmen, they're not too bad. A lot of them are. I would say 75% of them are trying to sell you junk boxes.
Right.
Okay, and that's the ones you got to watch out for. They're gonna say it's their car, it was theirs, and then you look at the car that the title is under somebody else's name and anything like that. So I mean, you can't go by that too much. Cause I do buy a lot of cars, and I do sell a lot of cars. I try to make sure they're all 100% before I sell them. I try to give people 30-day warranties with them. Um, a lot of people ain't like that. A lot of people ain't honest. They'll just sell you anything and send you on your way. Uh, Main thing to look for is majority is oil leaks. Oil leaks, especially nowadays, everybody's buying German cars. Everybody wants to have a BMW. Everybody wants to have a Mercedes. Since they're very easily accessible now and they're very cheap to get, you don't want to stay away from them. They could be going to your pocket heavy. And a lot of people now, since they are very cheap and affordable, everybody and their mother has them, and everybody and their mother can't afford to fix them, so they take it to the street mechanic to fix. And I seen a lot of it, and I said, BMW is my best friend in the shop. That's all I get every day. I work about like 6 or 7 of them a day, and it's only because I said people want to buy them because it's cheap. Try to steer away from them. Try to, like I said, if you want to buy a German car, Try to buy it off somebody that it was their car. They know they took care of it, and such and such. Oil leaks is the main thing. If you could buy a little pocket scanner to take with you nowadays, obviously we're in New York. New York is the hardest to get inspections for. You want to look up, turn on the ignition, make sure all the lights work, check engine lights, ABS lights, airbag lights, because the car will not pass with a check engine light. And a lot of times, half of these people, whether they disconnect the battery or show up the check engine light, once you buy the car, it's yours. You drive it down the block, the check engine light comes on, you can have a slew of problems. Okay. You want, if somebody's going to sell your car with the check engine light, you want to have them tell you, listen, the check engine light on for such and such. Half of the time, people is going to tell you, oh, well, I'm selling the car cheap. It only needs a $30 sensor. If it needed a $30 sensor, why didn't you change it? Why are you selling the car so cheap? If it was just a $30 sensor. Right. Obviously, there was a lot more than that. And, I go with people, people pay me to go look at cars with them, and I call people out on their BS all day. All right, so.
Something you mentioned about the check engine light.
Yeah.
That's one thing that people think that they're fooling somebody, because what they'll do is that they'll get a sensor, they'll get an OBD a scanner, they'll put it in the car, they'll clean out the check engine light, and thinking that they can sell the car like that. Not knowing that if you take it and you get a proper scanner, the scanner is going to tell you if something is if it's ready or not.
Because, yes, that's what you want to look for. You want to look to see if all the monitors are ready.
Right.
Obviously, if somebody just changed the battery, how are you going to know? You're never going to know. Mm-hmm. So, there's chances that you're taking. You try to see if the guy wants to go on a test ride with you. You want to hear for suspension noises. You want to hear for any major clunks. So you want to feel for slippage. You want to check, obviously you want to check for oil, make sure the oil is good and everything like that. Airbag lights, I wouldn't be too concerned about. A lot of times if the car's older, all these cars now have passenger seat sensors. 90% of them are always gone. A lot of people don't care to take care of them because a car will pass inspection, with the light on. ABS lights, that could be a minor sensor to a computer issue. So, you want to check if it has ABS light on, the scanner will definitely pick it up. Some scanners will, some of them don't. Brakes, rotors, things like that. People are like, yeah, I just changed the brakes and the rotors are completely disgusting. Then you have to do brakes and rotors again. What else? You want to check for leaks around the valve cover gaskets, any around the motor. Any leaks going onto the exhaust manifold. You'll know it, you'll smell it, you'll drive it around, you let the car get heated up. Definitely want to drive the car around for at least 15, 20 minutes and check the temperature of the car. Make sure it's staying at least half. Some cars actually go up past 3/4, and they shouldn't go no more than 3/4 of the way. You want to check the radiator fluid before you start the car. If the car is cold, you want to check to see if there's any oil deposits in there. Oil deposits, could be anything, can be minor, could be major, but you want to check that and make sure that in the antifreeze there's no oil residue. That could be signs of a head gasket on its way, when the oil seeps in. BMW V8s, if you're looking at BMW V8s, like I said, I tell everybody this. Everybody wants to buy a BMW. They're cheap. People sell them cheap. BMW V8s. These cars are smoke bombs. I had plenty of them. They burn oil and they burn them. What you want to do is people will drive the car. You'll get no smoke. You want to let the car sit there at idle for 10 minutes and give it gas. You'll know right away once you give it that gas, after it's been sitting there at idle for 10 minutes, you'll be clouds of smoke. Stay away from that. It's a $4,000 to $5,000 job. So I don't care if somebody says, oh yeah, the car's fine. I just want to get rid of it for $2,500. Obviously, they're getting rid of it for $2,500 is a major problem. BMW 6-cylinders, twin turbos. That's 2008 and up. You want to be careful. Check those cars there. if there's oil around the belts. Very big problem. People see this oil on the belt. Oh, it's got a little leak there. It's an oil filter. No, that very little small oil leak could cause major damage. I fixed a few of them already. That little damage there. Typical cars, belt breaks, you're fine. You get a new belt. You clean off the belt from a couple of those places, you're fine. BMW V6s, twin turbos, the belt gets sucked up into the motor, into the oil pan. Okay, very common issue. Like I said, people, you get oil pressure lights on. If it's a four-wheel drive car, you're looking at just the job alone about like $2,500, just to repair that, and for something so simple as people say small oil leak on the belt. Um,
I have a question. If somebody is interested in buying a domestic vehicle, um, what would you suggest?
so domestic vehicles, stay away from Chevy Traverses with high mileage. The engines are very common to go. My friend just did about 3 of them in a week. I just finished up one now. Chevy Traverses, GMC Arcadias. Like I say, you buy them with low mileage, you're good. You buy them with high mileage, you got to be careful. The engine jobs are very expensive. I'm doing one right now. The guy bought the car for $500. I'm thinking he's getting a deal. Right now, he's into it for like almost $5,000 between buying the engine and my labor. Now, who's to know if that transmission is not going to go within 2 months after doing this motor? Okay.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because some people, they don't realize if you're going to wind up getting a rebuilt engine, now the engine and the transmission, they have to marry each other. So you can't get something new in one end and then you have something old in the other. They have to be compatible.
Yeah. These cars here that people say, oh, it just needs a motor, it just needs a transmission. If you're not mechanically inclined, stay away from it. It'll go deep into your pockets. Okay. A lot of times the transmission is good. But like I said, you got to be careful because you don't know. You don't know how long the car's been sitting around. You don't know why did the engine blow? Was they beating on the car, and such and such as that. Like I said, those cars there, those are for mechanics. Those are for people like me to get them and go over them. Those are not for your average buyer. Okay. Accident cars. Accident cars is another one. They could be, minor problems or something major. Um, Same thing. German cars, even some American cars, buying these parts, very expensive. Ford parts, out the roof, buying parts for them. Tell you offhand, I done bumpers for Fords there, $1,000 for a Ford. Okay. Basically, I said Subarus are good cars. Don't worry about high mileage. A lot of people that have them with the high mileage, they actually been going for the high mileage for a reason. I've seen a lot of Subarus, all over for sale. These guys are upstate. These want four-wheel drive cars. Subarus are great. I've seen a lot of them with blow motors with low mileage. That could just happen. Head gaskets. They're not that expensive to do, but if they destroyed the lower head of the engine, some Subaru, the engines are $3,000. The older ones a lot more reliable. If you're looking for something cheap, they're pretty cheap to maintain, other than if a head gasket goes. Um, but they're pretty decent cars with high mileage. And like I said, a lot of people have them the high mileage. Obviously, they got them to over those high mileage. They've been taking care of them. So people are afraid of high mileage. You're buying a car private in the street, low mileage, high mileage. You're getting no warranty either way if you're buying it for somebody in the street. Don't let that high mileage scare you. If you're getting it for cheaper, listen. If some two people are selling a car and one has, 25, 30,000 miles more than the other, and obviously the one with the lower mileage wants more money because he's got low mileage. If you're not getting a warranty, there is no difference. You're paying $3,000 or $4,000 more. If something goes on there with the low mileage, you're gonna kick yourself in the butt. If something goes with the high mileage car, you actually pay $3,000 less. You have wiggle room to take care of it, and you won't feel bad because you know that you know what you was buying.
Right.
Okay? People stress low mileage cars unless you're buying it in the dealer, and or you're trying to look to resell later on. Then go for it. But the high mileage, low mileage cars from somebody in the street with no warranty. If you're not going to resell it, it's not going to make any difference later on. You know, people, lemon cars, BMWs. I had them all. I loved them. You know, I'm a mechanic. I can fix them all day. It doesn't bother me to have them. Mercedes are a lot more reliable than BMWs. Land Rovers, Range Rovers. You think you're buying a good car, but you get it for cheap. Stay far away from them. Very expensive to maintain. Like I said, once again, everybody wants them because they're out there for cheap. They're out there for cheap for a reason. Leave them there.
Yeah, but the parts are expensive.
Yeah, they're very expensive. Leave them there. They're only worth it for somebody like me that can get the parts cheaper and can fix them. Obviously, you bring a car to, if it's not an honest mechanic, they see a Mercedes Range Rover, they automatically assume you got tons of money to be thrown away. Yeah. Leave those cars right where they sit at.
I think my suggestion to the average shopper, if you don't know much about cars, take somebody that has some sort of knowledge on this. You get a situation where in some cases you'll go as a female. You'll go and buy a vehicle and then they go, okay, sucker written on the forehead. And I'm not even close to that. I scare people, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's because of, my background. But there's others that they go in and they go, well, I really don't know about cars. Never say that if you're going to go buy a car.
I basically chase them away. Once they start asking me, like, I'm selling car as is, $1,000. Sometimes I sell a car $1,000. It's a point A to point B car, and it is what it is. And I tell people, once they start asking me, does it run and drive? I say, listen, maybe get you a month, maybe to get you a year. It's running right now. I can't give no guarantees. I have deterred people from buying cars from me once they start asking me, because I don't want to sell somebody a car and they have tons of problems. I sell cars once in a while that come to my shop that does need an engine. So I try to sell them to people that are gonna fix it and they're gonna flip it themselves. So I don't care. I don't get angry. Somebody's gonna make money off a car. I'm making my little bit of money. I'm happy. But those cars I try to sell as is. And usually when I have a cheap car for sale, I get millions in text. And I hate to say it, a lot of the times there's always a woman. They see a car for $1,000, $1,500, and they wanna, what's the Carfax on it? What's the miles on it? And I tell them, listen, if you're asking for miles on a Carfax and $1,000, $1,500 car, this is not for you. And you laugh. I get it a lot. I get it so much. $1,000, $1,500 car. People are asking about a Carfax on it for $1,000 car. And then I just tell them, like, go to the car dealer. Go buy a brand new car. If you're worried about Carfax and miles for $1,000, you need to be looking elsewhere. There goes my little demon.
So I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. Mikey, Mr. Rich, I want to thank you so much for giving us the how-tos and looking for a car that's not a lemon. Again, you can reach him at District Auto Body in Staten Island, New York. You can reach them. The office number is 718-727-0277, or you can reach the second number, which is 646-295-6541. Sorry.
6511.
6511. It'll be listed
also,
and it'll be listed below.
Alrighty.
I'm being spoiled. That's my nephew. I can hear him.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Hi, Maddox.
Hi. In 5. Have a birthday.
Okay. Say bye.
Bye.
No. Yeah. So there's one more note. Upstate there, you guys get a lot of snow, actually a lot of salt. Buying Jeep Wranglers, everybody wants a Jeep. Please bring somebody that knows what they're doing. A lot of times frames are rotted out. That frame is rotted out. That truck ain't worth $0. Please bring somebody that knows what they're doing. I had a customer of mine. He bought a Jeep Wrangler, like a 2007, 2006. He seen the truck. It had wheels, paint job, everything was nice. He didn't know nothing about cars. When he bought it, spent $5,000. Comes to me to get something done. Chassis is rotted through.
Yep.
Car wasn't worth anything.
Yep.
So, you know, watch out for things like that. Please bring somebody that knows what they're looking for when you're buying a used car on the street.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you so much. Again, this is Bibi from Back to the Basics by Bibi. Back to the BBB. If you have any questions or if you want to be a co-host in our show, please visit us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on YouTube. All the information with regards to this episode will be listed below, including the location of the shop and the phone numbers. Mikey, again, thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.